how to allocate resource to the users. How to allocate resource to the users. What are the different type of resource we have? Frequency and time. And these are some terminology, something which we have to remember. What is a resource tree? And then what is a resource block? And then what is a resource element? And this is for downlink, and similarly for uplink. And then I have told what is the maximum number of resource elements and resource blocks can be there. Today we'll start next topic. Our next topic is downlink transport channel processing overview. It's a 7th chapter in your textbook. In downlink layer processing mainly consists of channel coding and modulation. The channel coding is mapping the incoming transport blocks from MAC layer into different code words. With that mapping of the incoming transport blocks from MAC layer into different code words. And modulation, it generates complex valued OFDM baseband signals for each antenna port, which are then up-converted into carrier frequencies. Now we will see one by one. First is channel coding processing, and these are the parts in channel coding. These are the different processing in this complete channel coding processing. Okay. This describes generic channel coding procedure that are used for various data and control transport channels. These common aspects of channel coding are applicable to both downlink and uplink transmissions. This channel coding for downlink is a combination of error detection, error correction, rate matching, interleaving, and transport channel control information mapping. Transport channel and or control information mapping. In downlink, what it contains: error detection, error correction, rate matching, interleaving, and transport channel control information mapping into physical channel. Okay. Channel coding provides an error control mechanism for data transmission using forward error correction code. Error control mechanism using forward error correction codes and error detection based on CRC, cyclic redundancy check. Cyclic redundancy check. Error control using FEC, error detection using CRC. Now we'll see one by one. We'll see one by one all of these blocks. So first part of your channel coding processing is CRC addition. CRC addition. The CRC is used to provide error detection on the transport block. It generates parity bits via cyclic generator polynomials, which are then added at the end of the transport block. This transport block it is receiving, it will generate some parity bits using cyclic generator polynomials and add at the end of the transport block. The number of parity bits can take value 8, 16 or 24. And when the receiver receive it, the receiver will separate the two fields and uses the information bits to compute the expected CRC bits. Okay. It will separate the two fields and uses the information bits to compute the expected CRC bits. If the observed and expected CRC bits are same, then it concludes that information has been received correctly. Information has been received correctly and sends a positive acknowledgement back to the transmitter. And if the CRC bits are different, It concludes that error has occurred and sends a negative acknowledgement to the transmission, to the transmitter for retransmission. Positive and negative acknowledgements are often abbreviated to ACK and NACK. These two terms we have seen in last lecture also. ACK and NACK. Okay. What is CRC? These are the parity bits added at the end of the transport block. Added at the end of the transport block, which is used by receiver to check whether they have received the correct information or not. Next is code block segmentation. Code block segmentation. Code block segmentation is performed when the number of bits in the sequence after CRC attachment represented by B is larger than the maximum code block size for turbo encoder. Okay. It is code block segmentation. It is preferred when the number of bits in the sequence after CRC attachment is larger than the maximum code block size for the turbo encoder. Turbo encoder is the next part. Okay. So it is in between this encoder and CRC addition. So after CRC addition, if the number of bits in the code is greater than the allowed number of bits for the turbo encoder, then this code block segmentation is used. What it will do? It breaks the long sequence into C code blocks and adds an additional 24-bit CRC sequence to each block. If C is equal to 1 if B is less than Z, Z is 6144, which is the maximum block size of the turbo encoder, and C is equal to B by Z minus L if B is greater than Z. L is number of CRC parity bits. And each of these C blocks are then encoded independently. Each of these C blocks are then encoded independently. This is your code block segmentation used when the after previous step of CRC addition, the sequence becomes too long to be handled by the next step of channel encoding. Next step of channel encoding. This is code block segmentation. Now, channel coding. In LTE, channel encoders applied to transport channels include tail bitting, convolutional coding, and convolutional turbo coding. These are the two types of encoders which are used in LTE: tail bitting and convolutional encoders, and convolutional turbo encoders. And where we use it? For downlink SCH, downlink, shared channel, paging channel, multicast channel, turbo encoding is used. Turbo coding, encoding rate of 1/3, and for broadcast channel, tail bitting, convolutional coding with coding rate of 1/3. This is for channel coding. And for control informations, this is for transport channels. And for control information, for DCI, tail bitting, convolutional coding, for CFI, block coding, and for HI, repetition coding. So these terms we have seen in last Saturday. DCI, CFI, HI, sorry, last Friday. Okay. So these are the channel coding. So two type of encoders we use in LTE: tail bitting, convolutional encoders, and turbo encoders. Next is rate measure. For tail bitting and convolutional coding and turbo coding, in your book they have given a brief introduction to these two type of encoders, but they have not explained it properly. So I was thinking to check it from some other source. So I will explain these two encoders in next class. Next part is, next block is rate matching. Rate matching. What is this? Rate matching in LTE performs interleaving as well as repetition or functioning in order to generate a transport block that fits the payload size determined by modulation scheme and the number of resource block allocated for transport block. Okay. Rate matching is defined per coded block and consists of following three stages. One is interleaving. What interleaving do? Interleaving will perform in order to spread out the occurrence of busty error across the code block, which improves the overall performance of the decoder. Okay. What it will do? Interleaving is performed in order to spread out the occurrence of busty error across the code block. So whatever error was there, they will spread out they will be spread out across the code block, which will improve the overall performance of the decoder. And bit collection. Since the interleaving is performed separately for symmetric and parity bits, a bit collection stage is required to place these bits in right order as needed by decoder. Since the interleaving is performed separately for symmetric and parity bits, a bit collection stage is required. You can understand from this figure. Right? This is a bit collection stage is there. Is required to place these bits in right order as needed by decoder. Okay. Then bit selection. It is needed to repeat in order to repeat or puncture some of the parity bits to create the required payload. It is needed in order to repeat or puncture in order to repeat or puncture some of the parity bits to create the required payload. This is your rate matching. Rate matching. Just three stages: interleaving, bit collection, and bit selection. What interleaving will do? It will spread out the occurrence of error across the code block. But then bit selection, what it will do? It will select, place these bits in right order as because interleaving is performed separately for symmetric and parity bits. So bit collection is required to place these bits in right order, and then bit selection, it is needed to repeat or puncture if there is a need to repeat some bits or there is a need to remove some bits. So it will be done by bit selection in order to repeat or puncture some of the parity bits to create the required payload. So parity bits, we add parity bits here, right? During the CRC addition. So one thing to remember is this parity bits doesn't contain any information. These are the bits which are generated by the cyclic generator, and it doesn't contain any information. So based on the requirement of the payload, this can be removed or some additional bits can be added. Okay. Match the rate. This is your rate matching. Okay. Next and last part of channel coding processing is code block concatenation. Code block concatenation. Concatenation means binding the different bits of sequence in a sequence. The code block concatenation consists of sequentially concatenating the rate matching output for different code blocks, forming the code words. forming the code words input to the modulation processing. Forming the code word input to the modulation processing. If you see here, so after code block, the output of code block is goes to modulation processing. So, so output of code block is the input to the modulation processing. Okay. So what it will do, this code block concatenation will make a sequence of codes. It will make a sequence of codes which is known as code words, forming the code words input to the modulation processing. It is needed only for turbo coding when number of code block is larger than 1. Okay. Now if I summarize this channel coding processing, so it is like that. In the downlink, the base station adds a 24-bit CRC to each DLSCH transport block, downlink shared channel transport block, segments it into code blocks with the maximum size of 6144 bits. From where the 6144 bits come? It depends on the your encoder, which has a size of 6144. Okay. In downlink, the base station adds a 24-bit CRC to each downlink shared channel transport block, segments it into code blocks with a maximum size of 6144 bits, and adds another CRC to each one. It then passes the data through 1/3 rate turbo coder. The rate matching stage stores the resulting bits in a circular buffer and then selects bit from the buffer for transmission. The number of transmitted bits is determined by the size of resource allocation, and the exact choice is determined by redundancy version. Finally, the base station reassemble the coded transport blocks and sends them to the physical channel processor in the form of code words. Okay. So this is your channel coding processing. Channel coding processing in downlink transport channel processing. Next is modulation processing. After channel coding processing, next is modulation processing. Modulation takes one or two code words we generated in channel coding processing. Modulation takes one or two code words depending on whether spatial multiplexing is used and converts them to complex valued OFDM baseband signal for each antenna port. Okay. This modulation will take code words from the channel code processing output and then convert them to OFDM signals, complex valued OFDM signal for each antenna port. Now we'll see one by one what are these things. So first part is scrambling. Before modulation, the code words generated through channel processing is first scrambled by bit level scrambling sequence. In the downlink, the scrambling stage mixes each code word with a pseudo-random sequence that depends on the physical cell ID and the target RNTI to reduce the interference between transmission from nearby cell. So what it will do, it will add some bit level scrambling sequence. So how it will mix these the code words which we have generated in the last process with a pseudo-random sequence, and this pseudo-random sequence depends on the physical cell ID. Cell ID means from the base station side, physical cell ID, and target RNTI. Target RNTI is a ID of receiver to reduce the interference between transmissions from nearby cells. Okay. Except the multicast channel, for all other downlink transport channels and control information, the scrambling sequence are different for neighboring cells, so that inter-channel interference is randomized. Okay, so this is to handle the inter-channel interference. Okay, this is your scrambling. Next part is modulation mapper. Modulation mapper. The modulation mapper takes the resulting bits from scrambler in groups of 2, 4, or 6 and then maps them onto the in-phase quadrature components using QPSK, 16 QAM, 64 QAM. So these are the modulation allowed in LTE: QPSK, 16 QAM, and 64 QAM. And BPSK is also used for PHACS. Physical hybrid ARQ indicator channel. BPSK used for PHACS. So this table will tell you the modulation scheme for different physical channels. One is like for PDSCH, physical downlink share channel, it is QPSK, 16 QAM, and 64 QAM. And similarly for other PMCH, physical multicast channel, same QPSK, 16 QAM and 64 QAM. For broadcast channel, this QPSK, and similarly this control channel CFICH, and this is downlink control channel. For these two control channel, it is QPSK. So this is your modulation mapper. Next is layer mapping and pre-coding. Layer mapping and pre-coding. The layer mapping and pre-coding stages implement the multiple antenna transmission and reception techniques. So it is this two step of layer mapping and pre-coding. It is associated with the multiple antenna transmission and reception techniques, which we studied in module 2. Okay. It is associated with the multiple antenna transmission and reception techniques. The layer mapping staging takes the code words and maps them onto 1 to 4 independent layers. 1 to 4 independent layers. While the pre-coding stage applies the chosen pre-coding matrix and maps the layers onto different antenna ports. The layer mapper maps NC code words. You see here in this figure, this is your layer mapper and it is receiving NC code words. The layer mapper maps the NC code words to B spatial layers. It will map NC code words into B spatial layers, while precoder maps B layers to B antenna ports. Now this precoding, it will map this B layers to P antenna ports, where B is greater than equal to NC and P is greater than equal to B. So now we'll see what is this code words, layers, and antenna ports. Code words. A code word is defined as the output of each channel coding rate matching stage associated with single transport block coming from MAC layer. A code word is defined as the output of each channel coding rate matching stage associated with single transport block coming from MAC layer. So let's say here also it is code words. So here also the input to the layer mapper is also code words. So it is just a output of each channel coding and rate matching stage associated with single transport block coming from MAC layer. In LTE, although up to 4 transmit and receive antennas are supported, the number of code words limited to 2. Number of code words limited to 2. This is to limit the uplink feedback overhead, as a separate HARQ process is operated for each code word, which require a separate signaling in the uplink control channel. And it is limited to 2 just to limit the uplink feedback overhead. Now layer. So this layer mapping mapped NC code words into V layers. What is layers? A layer corresponds to data stream of spatial multiplexing channel. Each code word is mapped into one or multiple layers. Therefore, the number of layers is at least as many as the number of code words. That is, V is greater than equal to NC. The each code word is mapped to at least one layer. So it means the number of layers should be at least equal to NC. So, and it can be greater than equal to NC. Next is your antenna ports. Antenna ports. Antenna port is defined by its associated reference signal, which is a logical entity and may not correspond to actual physical antennas. Okay. So one thing to remember is an antenna port doesn't mean the number of physical antennas. An antenna port is defined by its associated reference signal, which is a logical entity and may not correspond to actual physical antennas. The number of antenna ports at E node B is sent to user equipments through the physical broadcast channel, which can be 1, 2, or 4 in LTE. Okay. The number of antenna ports at E node B is sent to user equipments through physical broadcast channel. Okay, and which can be 1, 2, or 4 in LTE. Antenna ports 0 to 3 are cell specific and which are used for downlink MIMO transmission. Antenna port 0 to 3 are cell specific, which are used for downlink MIMO transmission. And antenna port 4 is for MB-SFN specific, which is used for MB-SFN transmission. Antenna port 5 is user equipment specific, which is used for beam forming to a single user equipment using all physical antennas. Okay. 0 to 3 are cell specific, 4 is MB-SFN specific, 5 is user equipment specific. The MB-SFN we have seen in maybe last class, I think. Cell specific ports and user equipment specific ports cannot be simultaneously used. Okay. Different reference symbols are defined for different type of antenna ports. Cell specific ports and user equipment specific ports cannot be used simultaneously. Different reference symbols are defined for different type of antenna ports. And these are the different type of antenna ports. Single antenna port, in which one code word is mapped to a single layer. Okay. Single antenna port, one code word is mapped to a single layer. Then transmit diversity, one code word is mapped to 2 or 4 layers. One code word is mapped to 2 or single antenna port, one code word is mapped to single layer. Transmit diversity, one code word is mapped to 2 or 4 layers. And it is an open loop MIMO mode. Then spatial multiplexing, NC code words are mapped to V layers, where NC is equal to 1 and 2 and V is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. V is greater than equal to NC. This is spatial multiplexing. And this table is shown code word to layer mapping for spatial multiplexing. Number of layers 1, code word mapped to layer 0. There is no code word 1. Number of layers 2, it can be mapped to layer 0, 1, code word 0 to layer 0, code word 1 to layer 1, or both can be mapped to code word 0 can be mapped to layer 0 and layer 1. If number of layers is 3, so it can be code word 0 to layer 0, forward 1 to layer 1 and 2. And number of layers are 4. Then 2 layers, forward 0 is mapped to 2 layers, 0 and 1, and forward 1 is mapped to 2 layers, 2 and 3. Okay. This is your layers. How layers are mapped in antenna port, special multiplexing antenna port. Next block in your modulation processing is resource mapping. Resource mapping. For each antenna port used for transmission of physical channel, the resource mapping, the block of complex valued symbol represented by YP0 to YP MS AP-1 shall be mapped in sequence starting from YP0. Shall be mapped in sequence to resource block assigned for transmission. So resource block, resource element we have seen last week. Resource block, resource element. We have now it is mapping of these symbols with resource block. Okay. That is resource mapping. For each antenna port used for transmission of physical channel, the block of complex valued symbols shall be mapped in sequence to resource block. Shall be mapped in sequence to resource block assigned for transmission. The mapping to resource element, the smallest unit of resource block, is resource element. The mapping to resource element on antenna port P, not reserved for other purpose, shall be increasing order of first the index K and then index L, starting from first slot in a subframe. Starting from the first slot in a subframe. Okay. In mapping to resource block in sequence and mapping to resource element in a increasing order. This is your resource mapping. Next and the last block is OFDM signal generation. Now the final OFDM signal generation. In practice, OFDM signal is generated using IFFT digital processing. This is what we use in LTE, right? And at receiver, FFT processing can be used to convert time domain signal back to frequency domain. Okay, so this is how represented by this figure in your textbook. There are n users, user 1, user 2, user n, and this data from this user is fed to resource mapping, and then in frequency domain it is goes to IFFT. IFFT will convert this data to time domain. From time domain to physical parallel to serial conversion, and as well as cyclic prefix is added. And after cyclic prefix, this serial data from parallel to serial conversion is your FPMA signals. This is how your FPMA signals is generated. Data from n users, resource mapping, then IFFT, and then parallel to serial conversion with addition of cyclic prefix. Parallel to serial conversion with addition of cyclic prefix. This is your final OFDMA signal. Let me just note down the attendance.